there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, my top 10 favorite gadgets in Kenny's shop. Now when I talk about gadgets, I'm not talking about things like jigs, things that are necessary or can be necessary to complete a project, say like a tapering jig. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to little gadgets, things that you use in the shop that you could get by without. You don't need them to woodwork, you don't need them to have successful quality projects, but they're fun and they make some processes a little easier. That's what I'm talking about today. So we're going to talk about my top 10 that I use, and let's start it off with number 10.
Number 10.
Well, at number 10, I have this. And what this is an angle transferring tool. It's a funny looking little device, and you loosen up your 3 knobs, and essentially what you can do is you can change it to whatever configuration or angle that you want to duplicate an angle that you already have on a project. So I don't know, let's just do it to this. So if this was the angle, it's a 45, but if this was an angle, you could set it like this against your workpiece, tighten down all 3 knobs, just like this, and then what you have is you have a transfer tool so that you can draw out, lay this on another project or another piece of stock and transfer out this angle exactly. If it's a little bit of a weird angle or a weird shape, then it's no big deal. This thing can do pretty much any of them. And because of the way that it's designed, it's really adjustable to whatever you want. It doesn't get used a lot, but there are times in the shop where this thing is just the handiest little thing in the world.
Number 9.
Well, you saw this item get featured on What Did Kenny Get for His Birthday? And that would be my magneto tape measure holder. As I said in the show where I featured what I received, I had one of these for years and years on the construction site, and it kicked butt. This thing really stood the test of time, and it's something so simple, but the concept of it is fantastic. It's a magnetic belt clip. You can see how strong that is. This clips on your belt, so it's always there. You don't have to struggle to get your tape measure on and off your belt and try to, use it and then try to clip it back on, because you remove the clip and install this magnetic disc. So when you're done with your tape measure, it just slaps right back on there onto your tape measure holder, and it's not going anywhere. Not until you pull it off again. Now it's a lot easier to do when it's attached to you. There we go. It is a strong magnet. It will hold it there with no problems. I normally used to have a larger tape measure on it, but this is the one I use in the shop. So there you go. This is, can you live without it? 100%. But does it make my life easier in the shop? Man, without a doubt. Just a great little product.
Number 8.
Now this next little gadget is kind of a fun one, but it does have a great purpose, and it looks like this. And what this is a glasses holder. And essentially what you do is one half of this, being this plastic part, gets placed on the inside of your apron or your shirt, and then this metal clip gets attached through your shirt or apron to this via earth magnets. And after you get it installed like that on your shirt, what you can do is it's basically meant to hang your glasses from. So if you have a pair of safety glasses that you're always putting down and neglecting to pick back up, or where did I put my glasses, or if you wear reading glasses in the shop, you can easily find where they are because they're hanging right off the front of your shirt. These are a fairly inexpensive little gadget, but they're useful as can be, And get one of these on your shirt or your apron in the shop, and you'll never again wonder whatever happened to my safety glasses.
Number 7.
Now, I know that I said that jigs really don't count, but I don't really count this as a jig, even though it's called one. And here we are at number 7, and what it is my small parts routing jig. This is a fairly inexpensive item, but honestly, it is truly useful. If you want to measure angles or cut angles, you can adjust it just like this for holding your pieces, and this end here would run against your fence and cut an angled groove or what have you in the piece that you're holding. But for me, I use it strictly to hold small parts when I'm routing. This little section right here, this slides back and forth. You can just pull this up and it slides easily along the threaded rod. Once you get it roughly where you want it, you can just tighten it back down. Now it won't slide. And then you can use the side knob here to tighten it up. And by spinning this, you can pull it in and tighten your small part here in your holder. Now you can hold it just like this, do the routing that you need at the router table, and your hands are always clean and clear of the bit and your work. You saw me use it on the show here for making place marker chalkboards, I believe. I think that's where I first demonstrated this unit, and its usefulness continues here in the shop. Anything that we can do to keep our hands away from bits and blades is just a good thing. So here we are at number 7, the small parts routing jig.
Number 6.
Well, coming in at number 6 is a weird looking thing, and it's this. And what this is my vise racking stop. It's basically a bunch of 1/8 inch thick UHMW plastic strips that are mounted together on this end assembly. And you essentially dial out enough to mimic the thickness of the stock that you're going to clamp into your vise. This will go into one side of your vise on your bench, and the other side just sits on your bench, and it prevents your vise from racking while you're clamping down, giving you even pressure all the way across your workpiece. I demonstrated on the show quite some time ago how to make a shop-made version of this, and I know some of you made one, but I do like my gadgets and I do like my store-bought gadgets, and this here is right up there with my favorites. So coming in there at number 6 is my vise racking stop.
Number 5.
Well, at number 5 is this. And no, it's not just my ruler. As much as I love this cabinet maker's ruler, it is my ruler stop. And these things are just handy. Again, I showed you guys on the show how to make shop-made versions of them, but this is the Veritas version. And they're just handy for so many reasons. If you want to measure the depth, say, of your dado, you can put your ruler down into the dado, slide your depth stop up to the shoulder or the end of it, tighten this down, and then you can read your measurement off. If you want to transfer a measurement, say of 4 inches, you can just set it there to your 4-inch mark, tighten it down, and then the edge of your ruler stop will register against the side of your stock, and you can use the end of the ruler here to mark 4 inches all the way along. One of the best uses that I love for this is when I'm making my scale models. And let's say I need to have a piece mounted so that it is centered on another piece. All you need to do is measure the piece that you want to center, measure the piece that you're centering it on, subtract the two of them and divide it by 2, and that will give you the measurement to set your ruler stop at. So if it's 6 inches wide, you want to center a 4-inch piece. 6 inches minus 4 is 2 inches. Divide it by 2 gives you 1 inch, which means you need 1 inch on either side. So all you need to do is take your ruler stop, slide it over to the 1 inch, give it a quick little lockdown, and then you just register it on the edge of your board, checking as you glue it down to make sure that you do have 1 inch on either side. No more of this sliding it in place and then taking a measurement, slide it, take a measurement. Instant stop. This goes against the edge, this goes against the edge of the piece you're gluing in. Bob's your uncle, and away you go, you're done. Just, is it necessary? Heck no, but you know what? I love these things. That's just awesome.
Number 4.
Well, coming in at number 4 is probably the least expensive thing on the list and also one of the smallest. And that is my little 1 inch. It's actually 1.5 inches, I believe, or 1 3/8, whatever the heck it is. But it's my little mini setup square. And this thing is, you know what, it is more useful than a lot of the squares that I have in the shop. For smaller work, laying out your angles, it goes right up to 90 degrees here to mark your angles on the side. Your 1 inch scale, divide it in 1/16 of an inch. You've got a 45 square here. You've got a shoulder here at the 90 edge if you need to draw a 90 or a 45 degree angle. It's small, it's compact, it's fits in your pocket, it's easily accessible. It's just a great little thing, especially if you're into model building. One of these little setup squares is essential when it comes to lining up your pieces for gluing them together, due to the fact that one of the keys to success of a great model or a great looking model is making sure that everything is square and that nothing kind of gets out of whack. This really comes in handy. It's not that expensive. It's a great little product, and you know what? I would highly recommend it if you want just a little small setup square for in your shop. Even at home, like whatever you'd like. This thing is just spectacular, and I love it.
Number 3.
Well, at number 3, you guys have seen them a million times on the show, is my setup blocks. These things are absolutely priceless. They come in metric or in imperial. Mine are just in imperial because that's what I work in, but there are 2 different sets here. This one here is the 1/16 inch expansion set, and this here is the initial set. And the initial set comes with a 1, 2, 3 setup block. And for those of you who don't know, what that means is that one edge is 1 inch, one edge is 2 inch, and one edge is 3 inch. So if you need to set up 1, 2, or 3 inches, you've got that right there. And then it goes in increments here, starting with a 1/16 inch block. It goes right up to 1/16, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. Honorable mention goes to one of the newer little setup blocks that Lee Valley offers, and that is one of these little guys. And this is kind of in the same concept. This one has glue on it. I've used it for setups, or for glue ups, it looks like. Gonna have to clean that. But what this does is this has several setup blocks in one. And you have a 1/8 here, you have a 1/4 here, you have a 1/2 inch right here, you have a 3/4 right here, and here you have a 1 inch, as well as a little square here, so you can place this against your edge and mark a square line. These little things are handy, and I keep one in each one of my setup block sets. There's another one right there with no glue on it. So this is the expansion set here, and this one actually starts off with this tiny little setup block here that is 1/32 of an inch thick. Now, this goes up in 16-inch increments. It has like 5/8 and that sort of thing in it, 9/16. These blocks, guys, are fantastic for many reasons. You've seen me use them many times here on the show. They're great for tool setup. They're great for aligning pieces if you need, say, certain sections of your build to be exactly 1/2 inch apart. They're great for setting the fence on your table saw or your bandsaw. They're great for setting blade height, bit height. There's all kinds of things that they're absolutely awesome at doing, and you know what? They're worth looking into. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. But that's what makes them fun, and that's what makes them a gadget on this list.
Number 2.
Well, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, boys. And in at number 2 is my Beal tilt box. This thing is, I've had this for years and years. The paint's worn off a lot of the sections. It is absolutely amazing. When it comes to squaring something off like your table saw blade or measuring an angle at your drill press, measuring an angle at your table saw blade, anywhere you want specific measurements of angles, this thing rocks. It has built-in magnets in the side of it so that you can measure the angle on your table and then snap it to your blade. It'll hold in place and you can see if you're zeroed out or if you're at 90 degrees. It is just beyond words here how much use this has seen over the years. It takes a 9-volt battery, which lasts forever, it seems. I only just replaced the battery in this a couple years ago, and I've easily had this for close to 10 years, if not longer. So the battery lasts forever, and I use it all the time. It has a nice bright LED screen or an LCD screen that's easy to read. The big numbers, it says error because I have it on its back. It doesn't like reading angles like that. You have to have it upright to read an angle. But it is divided into 2 decimal places for angles so you can get that accuracy that you want or that you need. For something like when I was making the tumbling block 3D cutting board, this thing was priceless as it helped me to set my table saw blade to the exact angles that I need and also provided me with the ability to do repeat cuts. The repeatability factor of this thing is fantastic because 7 degrees, let's say, is 7 degrees. And as long as this thing is reading 7 degrees and you've already zeroed it out with the table, you know you're getting a proper measurement. So if you don't have a tilt box or something similar to this, I know Wixie makes one. There's several out there on the market, but it may be something that you may want to consider to add to your arsenal of gadgets.
Number 1.
Well, number 1, and I'm sure it will come as no surprise to any of you out there that watch my show on a regular basis, number 1 is my Incra T-Rule. Bar none, the most used and the most useful gadget I have in the shop. I have 4 of these things. I have a 6-inch, a 12-inch, an 18-inch, and I also have the protractor. And it is irreplaceable. It really is. For quick layout, quick, accurate measurements, there's the word right there that I want to point out. Accurate measurements. It's quick, it's accurate, and it measures up to like 64ths of an inch. So it has a lot of versatility. It's one of those things that, although it's not necessary, it has made my life in the shop so much more enjoyable, so much easier. I enjoy laying out projects now. For model building, it's spectacular. It's hard to describe until you've actually tried one of these things exactly what it can do for you in your woodworking. So don't discount it. I know they're a little pricey, but I'd pay it again. Hell, I'd pay double because it's been so useful to me in the shop. Well, I just wanted to bring in one honorable mention. And what this is my digital height gauge. This thing has been absolutely wonderful for setting the height of the table blade. As some of you know, I do have a mark on my throat insert that is equal to the center of my arbor of my table saw. So all I do is sit this on my table saw, I line up the foot here with that line, and then I start raising the blade. And as the blade raises, it will give me specific measurements measured in 1/128th of an inch increments all the way up. Is if I want to, well, my table saw won't go that way, but it goes over 6 inches. Either way, this thing has been great for setup. It's been a lot of fun. It gives me quick, accurate measurements. You can lock it in place for repeatability. It's just a great little device. And again, it's one of those things that's worth mentioning. And I should have had it on the list, really, because I do use it a lot and it has been helpful. So I guess, essentially, this is Kenny's top 11 of his favorite gadgets. And there you have it. My top 10 or top 11 gadgets that I use in the shop. Guys, there are some people out there that think that you need these fancy little expensive gadgets to produce quality woodworking and quality looking projects. That couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. There is nothing that you cannot do in the shop without these gadgets. I mean, you can set up your saw blade using protractors or an angle measuring tool. You don't need a fancy tilt box. You can lay out using your tape measure and a good quality square. There are all kinds of things that you can do in the shop that you do not need these gadgets. But are they fun? Yeah, of course they're fun. And some of them make my life a heck of a lot easier, such as is the case for both the height measuring tool that I showed you in the honorable mention and the Incra T-Rules. I just love those things to death. They're awesome. Guys, these gadgets, some of them are quite pricey and others are fairly inexpensive. I hope that you're going to try to check these all out for yourself. I'll post links down below for all of the items I've shown you here on today's show, provided they're still available. I know some things have been removed from the market, but I will try to provide all the links that I can, and hopefully you can look through them, and if there's something that you like, maybe you could ask for it for an upcoming birthday or a Christmas idea, anniversary gift. You know what? Maybe your spouse would like one of these things for an anniversary gift and you could just keep it for them in your shop. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell so that you don't miss the notifications of future episodes of the show. It's been a lot of fun bringing you today's show. I do love my gadgets and they're a lot of fun. I hope I've brought something to you that maybe you've wondered about or maybe you haven't seen before. I hope maybe you'll try to get some of these for yourself. I hope you've enjoyed today's content. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another Alternative Tuesdays.